A missionary that went to Africa related this story. He worked with a tribe that was mysteriously poverty-stricken in a region where other tribes were prosperous. And he spent years researching the aspects of this culture, trying to figure out what it is that made this one tribe not be prosperous. And he came up with one possibility. And that was that in that tribe's language, there was no word for thank you. There was no word to express gratitude. And so no one ever said thank you to each other. It wasn't part of their culture. And he didn't draw any conclusions, but he did wonder, could this loss of the spirit of gratitude be responsible for the poverty that this tribe experienced? And I wonder if it's possible in our lives, if we look at our lives and how grateful we are, and does our gratitude have a reflection on our spiritual consciousness and to the amount of prosperity and abundance that we experience? So this is, the idea of gratitude is one of the 4 components in Ho'oponopono. So today is the 4th Sunday that we've been talking about Ho'oponopono. And I'm excited about this, and I've really enjoyed the Ho'oponopono process that I've incorporated some metaphysics and unity teachings into and kind of made it my own, and then wonderfully enough had the opportunity to use it a few times in the month that we've been working with it. And both Emily and I have seen some really dramatic positive results from using this Ho'oponopono process. So my talk today is titled, Thank You for Helping Me to Be More Loving. You know, Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian practice for forgiveness, for reconciliation, for emotional healing, and for opening our hearts to ourselves and to our community and to all life. The Ho'oponopono process reminds us that we are all connected. When Hawaiians came together to do this process, they did it with a sense of oneness, with a sense of being together and loving each other and being there for each other to experience transformation and to be able to experience the fullness of life. The Hawaiian word for Ho'oponopono, you may know this, the ho'o means to make, and pono means right. So when we use the pono twice, we're saying we really want to make it right. And we can do this, I think, with a sense of doing it for ourselves and for doing it for each other. There are 4 aspects at work, 4 principles at work in Ho'oponopono: love, compassion, forgiveness, and gratitude. And we've talked about each of these in the 4 Ho'oponopono talks that we're doing. So today we're talking about gratitude, and science and psychology are proving more and more that when we practice gratitude, we actually experience more health and more peace and more joy, and we experience the fullness of life. There's something about being grateful that impacts our health, our self-awareness, our consciousness. It improves our relationships and really gives us a sense of fulfillment in our lives. For a long time, I have agreed with the idea of being grateful for everything in my life, right? We talk about that all the time. But I have to admit, I had some issues with being grateful for everyone who showed up in my life. Have you ever thought about that? You know, because some of these people are problematic, right? And why should I be grateful for the problematic people in my life? You know, the relationships that were difficult, the friendships that were turned difficult, or the stranger who said something to me someplace that hurt my feelings, or even my closest friends, or associates that I've come in contact with that have said things that hurt my feelings. Why should I be grateful for them? Well, my attitude changed one day when I sat down and I decided to make a list of all of the people in my life that hurt me in some way. And then I decided to turn that around and look to find what is it in this person, in this situation, that I can be grateful for, so that I could actually change the way that I see them, change my story in a sense, and experience more peace. So as I wrote down each name, I was able to realize where I had some resentment towards some of those people. And it was interesting to see that and to feel that and be aware of that. Because a lot of times, I don't know about you, but I try and push that stuff away, right? I don't want to think about the people that have hurt me. I don't want to think about the times that I felt bad because of something somebody said or did to me. I just want to push that away. Anybody else? But see, that's when we do that, we push away the opportunity for healing that is there in the situation and in ourselves. So what I did was then I took each of those people and I tried to look at, okay, what can I be grateful for in the people that hurt me? And I went through and wrote down the things that each one of those people, what I can be grateful for, what they taught me. I could look for the deeper meaning in that relationship and transform the way that I saw it. And then what I noticed happened, that as I did that, it was like a load was lifted off of me, right? It's like all of this stuff I've been hanging on to. Our theme today is let go, let God, right? It's the same idea. It's like once I saw this stuff and I was able to go, you know what? I'm not going to hang on to that anymore. In fact, I'm going to find what it is that I can be grateful for about this person and change my perspective on my experience. And it was like, wow, a load was lifted off, and I felt free. I think this happens because if we don't do that, then we carry all that stuff around. I just had the image in my mind of weights, right? It's like all of these situations Kurt has weights over here from his weightlifting days, or Alan's, I'm not sure what, but I had the idea of weights in my mind, and if we don't let go of the stuff, we carry it with us everywhere we go. And it impacts the way we show up, how much love we can experience from ourselves and in the world. Holding on to anger at someone causes our minds to endlessly rehash our interactions with people. Ever notice that? That we hang on to this stuff, and so what do? We rehash it and rehash it and rehash it and rehash it and rehash it, as if we think rehashing it is going to release it. But we can do just the opposite and find something to be grateful for, change the way we embrace these people, and it changes the way we experience our life. So, our affirmation for today is, thank you for helping me become more loving. And this is what we're talking about today, and the essence of this stage in the Ho'oponopono process is about just giving thanks for all that is, and for finding the love and the transformative thoughts that we can focus our attention on to reframe how situations have affected us in the past. So I have some ideas about ways that we can find in people to be grateful, and here are some of them. We can realize that some people that gave us, in the difficult situation, give us the opportunity to be successful. Some of these difficult situations helped us learn to admire ourselves because we overcame obstacles as a result. Some of these situations can help us discover our strengths in the process of moving through the difficult experiences that we had. Some of the experiences that we had can help us grow spiritually. Ever notice? Oftentimes, the most difficult situations in our lives lead to spiritual transformation, don't they? Sometimes a difficult situation can help us make life-changing situations. Sometimes we can realize that this situation helped me grow, right? It's because I've faced something similar in the past, this isn't so difficult because I can say, I've faced this before. And difficult situations can help us face our fears. And they can also, I love this one, help us develop patience. So, in my career, I'll tell you three stories about myself. And, the point of all of that was to say that the difficult people in our lives help us to step into our power. Isn't that a wonderful way to change our perspective, to see them bringing us a gift? I was a sales representative in the Bay Area. That's always what I wished I looked like, to have that much hair and that full of beard. I'd been doing this job for a number of years and I wasn't very happy with it. As a matter of fact, I was pretty unmotivated. I was discouraged and I was burnt out with my sales position. And then a new sales manager comes to town. And this guy is like the sheriff coming to town, right? The sales team that I was a part of, we were sort of known to be rebels and we did things differently. And we were independent thinkers. And this guy was going to come to town and he was going to straighten us out, right? And he called me every night, right? And asked me every single day, what did I sell today? And I got to tell you, our supervisors in the past just kind of trusted us, and we got together once a month and talked about these things, but he wanted to know every single day what I was doing. And so I have to tell you, as a result of that, and acting initially out of fear, I got my act together. Right? I polished everything up. I expanded on my sales presentations. I made them a lot more interesting. I included a lot more graphics in them. It's like, whoa, I totally transformed the way that I did my job. And interestingly enough, I started to like myself. Where I was tired of my job and hated the fact that I had to get up every morning and go out and make all these sales calls, all of a sudden I was energized and loving my job. And then an interesting thing happened. I actually began to like my supervisor. And I was like, what? How can this be? I'd say I loved him, and I did love him on some level. It was like I could look at him and I could see all of a sudden, this guy is nurturing me and bringing me out, and so that I could be the fullness of who I am. And I discovered that I love myself because I saw things in myself that I didn't see before. A fun part of it was that I started to incorporate my personality into my job. I made a sales call one day, and as my biggest buyer, and I said, you really have to purchase 100 pallets of product from me. And the person was like, Blaine, I just don't think we can handle that many. And so I opened my coat And I had strapped a bunch of fuses to the inside of my coat. And I told him that if he didn't buy this stuff, I was going to blow us all up. He didn't buy 100 pallets. But I have to tell you, this was the day when he didn't see it as a threat. He knew I was joking, because that's part of who I was. But he did buy a lot of product that day. So I am eternally grateful for this person that I first disliked and maybe even hated and turned around to love, because he nurtured me. He praised me. Oh, and I got to say also, he nominated me for Salesperson of the Year, which I didn't make, but he created a transformation in me. And I created it myself too, I have to admit. I got involved in it. So I am thankful. Thank you for helping me become more loving. Thank you for helping me become more loving. And say it together. Thank you for helping me become more loving. I had a class, a social anthropology class in college. And this was one of the most difficult classes I took. And what we studied different cultures and the way they interacted socially with each other. And the teacher in this class was tough and mean and strict. And I thought, there is no way that I am going to make it in this class. I don't know if I have the intellectual ability to do this class. It was difficult. And so I decided one day to make an appointment to go see her. And so I went and saw her. And I have to say, this woman intimidated me. You ever have any people that you have to deal with, especially when you're young, who are like, they're just, this woman was so set in her ways and so solid, and she scared me for whatever reason. So I went to her office. I did it a couple times, actually. And it was actually interesting because we discovered that we had a similar sense of humor. And we would laugh and have a good time and talk about the class. And she explained some of the things in the class that kind of expanded my knowledge. And when it came to taking the final in the class, of course, this essay class, essay test, and one of the questions asked us to compare two different kinds of research models in relationship to some research that was done, and try and show how these models fit into the study. And I have to say, I was the only person in that class that answered that question correctly. And I was so proud of myself because I was able to do that and stretch myself. And so this teacher embraced me and knew that I could capture these ideas. But what she taught me was that I have determination, or what she reflected to me, that I have the determination that if I really put my mind to something, I can grasp it and I can understand it. And she helped me learn to love myself. Thank you for helping me to become more loving. So I have a friend on the mainland, and this woman is really difficult to deal with. First of all, I think that she's a narcissist, because all she ever does is talk about herself. And she's pushy. All she ever cares about is her own opinions. And she complains about everything all the time. Every time you're with her, she's complaining about this, she's complaining about that. And I have to say that generally when I leave, or she leaves after we've been together, I am exhausted. Know anybody like that? But on the other hand, this woman sends me a birthday card, a Christmas card, an Easter card, a Thanksgiving card, I don't know if I said Christmas card, but she sends me cards all year round, and she loves me. She cares about me. She sends me texts 2 or 3 times a week. You know, I thought when I was leaving the mainland that I'd probably lose track of her, but she has hung on to our friendship, and she's been there for me through difficult times more than many of my other friends. And this woman is difficult. But she's taught me how to create boundaries in my life. When I go and see her, I have to say to her, you know, I can only be there from 6 until 8. I have to be someplace at 8:30, right? But so then I can go there, as otherwise it's hard to get out of her house. So she's taught me how to have boundaries, how to love her in spite of the fact that she's so difficult, how to accept her love, which comes to me all of the time. And so she's taught me to be able to move into my heart and be totally present with her and accept her love, even though it's strange. You know, love comes in many forms. And isn't it great that we can just open up and accept the love that's there? Even if we don't necessarily like the way it's coming, we can open our hearts and accept people for who they are. And what I discovered is that the people that are difficult for us are not outside of us, but they're inside of us. That same difficult person that she represented, that my teacher represented, that my sales manager represented, those same people, those same ideas are in myself. And so what I really get to do is learn to love myself. Because whenever we feel, we know what is reflected to us, and what we fear is something that we get to overcome in ourselves to experience the fullness of love in ourselves. Thank you, my friends, for helping me become more loving. Thank you for helping me become more loving. To summarize, we get to see the challenging people in our lives as opportunities to experience the fullness of ourselves, because they're there as mirrors to us, showing us, giving us the opportunity to move deeper into our spiritual nature, into embracing the fullness of who we are, and to enhance our spiritual lives, our emotional lives, our physical lives. So, as a way of bringing this all together today, let's do a meditation, and we'll do a healing meditation with this affirmation. Thank you for helping me become more loving. I invite you to close your eyes. Breathing in and breathing out. And just allow yourself and your awareness to drop down into your heart. To be a pure and clean image right now. To let go of all the thoughts and the words and the feelings and just be present right now. And just be present to yourself. To be grateful for who you are. To be grateful for this moment. And imagine that you're sitting or standing across from yourself. Imagine that you can gaze into your own eyes. breathing in and breathing out. And imagine as you behold yourself that you say, thank you for helping me become more loving. And breathe that in. Imagine that you can experience that as the speaker speaking to yourself. Thank you for helping me to become more loving. And in the same way, imagine that you can be the receiver, taking it in, expressing, feeling the gratitude. Thank you for helping me to become more loving. And let this move through your mind and your body into the fullness of all that you are.
Thank you for helping me become more loving. Thank you for helping me become more loving. Thank you for helping me become more loving.
Now imagine that you are standing before somebody that you love, that you can gaze into their eyes with absolute gratitude. And as you picture them and hold them, see them, to say thank you for helping me become more loving.
Thank you for helping me become more loving.
And so let's practice together just to whisper these words to this dear one. Let's take a breath and say gently together, thank you for helping me become more loving. Now imagine that you are standing with someone that you find challenging, somebody difficult, somebody that is here to give you the opportunity to love on a deeper level. It could be a friend, a relative, a significant other, a stranger, somebody you don't know. And say to them, thank you for helping me to become more loving. And let's say it together. Thank you for helping me become more loving. And now imagine that out in front of you is all life. All women, all men, all children, all animals, the ocean, the land, the sky. And as you embrace all of this in a beautiful way through your heart, to say thank you for helping me become more loving. And let's take just a moment in the silence. Thank you for helping me become more loving. And I invite you to gently bring your awareness back to this moment. I'm thankful for those difficult people in my life. They helped me get a glimpse of the person I didn't want to be. And in the same way, to get a glimpse of who I want to be. I am so grateful. And I've got a little poem I like to read titled, oh, there we go, good. Thank you, friend. I never came to you, my friend, and went away without some new enrichment of the heart, more faith and less of doubt, more courage for the days ahead, and often in great need. Coming to you, I went away comforted indeed. How can I find the shining word, that glowing phrase that tells all that your love has meant to me, all that your friendship spells? There is no word, no phrase for you, on whom I so depend. All I can say to you is this: God bless you, friend. And at this time, I invite you to prepare your love offerings, and you'll find a basket or an envelope near your chair. And thank you for placing your gifts in there, and thank you for continuing to contribute. Having trouble with those C words. To Unity Church of Maui. We are blessed to have this amazing community that supports each other in our spiritual growth. And thank you for being a part of that and bringing your essence and your love into this community and into the world. I truly believe that we are making a difference in the consciousness on this planet by doing this work and being who we are. And I know that you being here is a reflection of your dedication to the principles of truth that we teach, and it comes out of your excitement to make a difference in your life and in the world as well. So as we hold our gifts, let's pray and affirm together our prayer for prosperity, which begins: through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. So, loving Spirit, we give thanks for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we embrace them, we give thanks for them. And we know that they move through this unity community out into this island of Maui and into the world. And we see a world filled with life, with peace, with joy, and with love. And so it is. Thank you, God. And just one more thing. This amazing walkway that you see here was created by Al Cantorna. And so thank you, Al, for making the journey to the restroom much safer. All right. So let's see. Next week, my talk is titled Freedom is an Inside Job. It is, of course, 4th of July next Sunday. So I hope you'll come and enjoy us as we have an explosive Sunday with our own fireworks in a good and a metaphysical way right here. And we'll, this elephant here is... reminds us that, elephants can be trained in the same way that people can. If the trainer of an elephant puts a chain around the elephant's foot and the chain is attached, or the rope is attached to a stake in the ground, depending how long the rope or the chain is, the elephant will only walk, of course, where it can walk, being bound with the chain or the rope. And it's interesting that then when the chain or the rope is released, the elephant still remains in the same area. So I wonder how many of us walk around attached to our old stakes, to our old beliefs. And perhaps we believe that somebody hurt us or betrayed us in the past, so we continue to approach life from that circumstance and out of that story. So next week we'll look at how can we break free of the stakes that keep us bound in our stories. So that'll be next week right here. And the talk is titled Freedom is an Inside Job. And if you're here today, you can sign up. There is a sign-up sheet, I think, outside, right? Yes. And if you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, you can call Unity. You can call Emily at 268-8310 and make a reservation to join us on Sunday morning. And let's see. These amazing flowers right here are offered to us by Anna Lane today. Thank you, Anna Lane, for beautifying our sanctuary this morning. And there is a sign-up sheet out by the door as well if you'd like to bring flowers in the future to help us stay in the beauty of nature. And we are still working on our capital campaign. Our goal is $10,000, and we're looking forward to the time when we will be back in full force and be wanting a shuttle to drive us back and forth from the county building so that we have lots of parking places for new people and people who need to park close by. So thank you for your donations to that. And you can find us right now. Of course, we're broadcast on Facebook Live at 10 o'clock Hawaii time every Sunday morning. And if you like our service, tune us in. And you can also find more of our talks and lessons and music on our YouTube page. And so let's see. I think that about wraps it up for today. Anything I missed, Kurt?
Nope.
Okay. Do you want me to sing a solo or anything?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so why don't we stand and let's affirm and pray and know together the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. God bless you, friend. Mahalo, and see you soon.
Where I live, there are rain.